80. Be learned. Never neglect or be lethargic regarding studies. We should bear all subjects carefully. Acquire knowledge. He who acquires knowledge acquires virtue and praises religion activities. He who acquires knowledge praises Allah. He who searches for knowledge worships Allah. Studies remove the reader's greed, worries and desires. He becomes stoics and gets nirvana. Be interested in the books of self-knowledge. Frustration sometimes leads a man toward acquiring knowledge. Read something about everything and read fully about some subjects. Studies make a man efficient in his practical life, but it does not generally control his temperaments. Knowledge is like a liquid material, it takes the shape of the container in which it is kept. Somebody uses knowledge as a tool of serving their particular purpose. Man does not become obedient to knowledge but wants to make knowledge obedient to him and to serve his purpose. As such, knowledge is power, not a character. Education increases knowledge but does not produce good characters. An illiterate man is not respected in the society. The secret of education is to pay respect to the studious. Necessity of making jails and hanging platforms will decrease if good schools are established for the boys. Education is the only friend, teacher and guide of a man, whether he is in his homeland or abroad. Company of an educated man begets prosperity to a man in transparency in his thinking, conscience and language. Education is the greatest beauty, valuable wealth, teacher of the teachers, the best friend and the greatest of the gods. It gives a man reward, reputation, prosperity and fame. Education is respected in the court of a king. Education is related to wealth, as defamation of death, greed to guilty, dishonesty to sin, truth to meditation, a holy mind to holy place, a good man to good qualities and good reputation to ornament. The best way of acquiring knowledge is to read books. Education is much useful to a society. It keeps a man mentally stable during distress and danger. It enriches a man's knowledge, language, behavior and working efficiency. The education which does not have an applicability, have not eagerness to search for applicable ground that needs collection of instances, materials, and inspiration from abroad and to imply the creative powers and merits of the next generation. A man becomes wise with the help of his basic qualities and the knowledge he acquires through other resources. Acquiring knowledge is a continuous process and it is related to time. The foundation of wisdom is there in the natural process and the power of searching process is there in logic. Ignorant people are truly either live like dead before their death and they are covered by the darkness of grave before they are buried, because they are mentally dead in the proper place for a dead body is grave. The more we read, the more we discover our ignorance. Listening is good but understanding is better. It is better to express about ignorance than to pretend to understand something without understanding it. He who asks a question to know something, becomes a fool for 5 minutes only, but he remains a fool throughout his life, who pretends to be a wise man and never asks any questions to anybody. He who has read everything and has remembered it fully, is an educated fool. Man is to forget something and is to remember something seriously. Fools and little learners are both equally dangerous. You may be a great scholar yet you are an ignorant if you can't apply your knowledge in your practical life. Books are my masters as well as friends. Books are the sources of knowledge. Knowledge is developed only by practice. When a practical knowledge is added to a theoretical one, it becomes full-fledged. Life is monotonous and full of sorrows, but when a man starts reading a book, he forgets everything else. Life is a combination of weals and woes, beauty and ugliness and good and bad. And a book is the reflection of a life. Lives of mankind are consisted of the lives of enormous people. There is neither start nor end of these lives. It is not possible for a man to see everything of all these generations in his lifetime. He can get some ideas about it through books. Ink of the pen of a scholar is more holy than the blood of martyrs. Education helps a man to command others but it is difficult for others to command them. Calmness is the beauty of education and forgiveness is the beauty of power. Remember, you are to be educated for yourself, for the same of your parents and above all, for the national interest. Only by educating yourself you can solve the social and economic problems, make a prosperous and powerful state, and can make yourself assets of the state fit for struggle of life and facing the future. A man remains wise so long he has an interest for learning. And as soon as he thinks himself as a wise man, ignorance starts swallowing him. Use your knowledge on requirement basis, otherwise it is better to keep it hidden. Be a literate man before being an austere. Normally men becomes wise after reading books. Some of people become confused and even misguided after reading the same books. The book which does not contain experience of a life is useless, because a good book teaches the art of living. A king and a scholar are never equal, because a king is honored in his country for a particular period and a scholar is honored throughout the world all times. As such, a scholar cannot be compared with a king. A scholar is best and he is superior to all. An illiterate man is like a scentless flower, although he is handsome and an aristocrat. The moon is the beauty of night, husband is the beauty of a wife, king is the beauty of a country, and knowledge is the beauty for all. No other beauty is required if a man is beautified with knowledge. Knowledge is such a valuable pearl which can't be claimed by any co-sharer, can't be stolen, and does not end up by charity. Knowledge opens our eyes and shows us everything. There is no eye stronger than knowledge. We know many unknown things through education.